The most hated man in the world right now may very well be Martin Shkreli. The 32-year-old's pharmaceutical company bought a one-of-a-kind HIV and cancer treatment pill and hiked the price up by 5,000% for no other apparent reason than to make money. But then there was the backlash. Social media erupted, politicians denounced his practices, and Shkreli now has said he will lower the medication's price. Congrats, you guys. You stopped a greedy CEO. Done and done, right? Hardly. Maura Carlson, health policy director at the Center for American Progress, said price gouging in the pharmaceutical industry is a very common practice.
Right now, I think you're kind of seeing a perfect storm. I think that this is just the latest example of what people are seeing as extraordinarily high costs that are becoming more and more out of control and less affordable.
After acquiring the rights to tuberculosis medication earlier this year, one company increased the price by more than 2,000%. And two separate life-saving heart medications went up in price this February by 525% and 212% per vial the same day they were bought by a new company. Oh, and our friend Martin Shkreli? He did the same thing for the last company he worked for, jacking up the price of kidney medication by 2,000%. When capitalism and life-saving meds combine. As you can imagine, Americans spend a lot on prescription drugs, $374 billion last year alone. And yet prices for crucial prescription medications continue to rise. So how can they get away with hiking up prices? Well, it's a lack of regulation. The FDA has no rules against price hikes, so companies can take advantage of owning the only drug on the market. This affects not only people who pay out of pocket, but hospitals and insurance companies too. And then there's the big pharma lobby, which happens to spend way more money on lobbying Congress than any other industry, which of course helps them profit even more. In 2003, they successfully lobbied Congress to deny Medicare the ability to negotiate drug prices. So Medicare, and in turn all of us, pay more. Big Pharma is so lucrative, in fact, that companies like Pfizer can afford to pay billions in fines for promoting drugs that aren't approved as safe. And despite what CEOs like Shkreli say, companies often spend more on marketing their drugs than on research and development, sometimes twice as much.
If the status quo remains, it is a win for the pharmaceutical industry and it is a loss for consumers.
So what's being done? Well, some politicians have been working more strictly to regulate the pharma industry. Both Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton have presidential plans to regulate drug pricing. But Big Pharma isn't fazed. One CEO went on CNBC's Mad Money this week to say what he felt about government regulation.
All of our intelligence says that it's going to be very hard for Hillary or any other candidate to really have a profound impact on drug pricing.
He might be right about the candidates, but as Carlson told us, it's public opinion that could really have sway, especially since 73% of Americans think prescription drug prices are unreasonable. So, did the most hated man in the world finally get us talking about the big pharma problem?